with the series, with the film?
I mean, I think the intention is to give a more full-bodied experience to what happened, you know, from the people that agreed to sit down and to participate. And I feel like the film asks a lot of questions, you know, maybe more questions are asked than answers given.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
For a long time, the public believed the story surrounding Sean Diddy Combs had finally reached its conclusion. The headlines had already exploded across television, social media, and every major entertainment outlet. Court hearings came and went, statements were released, and eventually the moment arrived when the once untouchable music mogul found himself facing the consequences of a scandal that shook the entire industry. To many observers, that seemed like the end of the saga. Another powerful celebrity had fallen, and Hollywood would quietly move on to the next headline. But insiders across the entertainment world began whispering that the situation was far from over. In fact, some believed the real story was only beginning to unfold. Behind the scenes, people started revisiting old connections, past events, and the long list of celebrities who had once moved within the same social circles as Diddy. Archived clips began resurfacing online, and suddenly, moments that once seemed harmless started taking on an entirely different meaning. Even more interesting was the growing tension inside Hollywood itself. Some stars were quietly distancing themselves from anything associated with Diddy's name, while others remained silent, choosing not to comment at all. And then another voice entered the conversation, 50 Cent. Known for his long-running rivalry with Diddy, he began hinting that a documentary project could reveal even more about the hidden world behind the mogul's empire. That possibility immediately caught the attention of fans and industry insiders alike, because if new information really existed, it could mean the scandal was no longer just about one man. It could become a story about the powerful network that surrounded him for decades.
The clip that reignited the conversation involved Khloe Kardashian sharing a story about attending one of Diddy's famous parties years earlier. At the time the moment originally aired, it had been treated as lighthearted entertainment. She laughed while describing how wild the atmosphere had been, and mentioned that many of the guests had barely any clothes on by the end of the night. The studio audience laughed along with her, and the clip quickly became one of those humorous celebrity moments that circulate online without much deeper analysis. But years later, after the scandal surrounding Sean Diddy Combs began dominating headlines, the same video started spreading across social media again. This time, the reaction was very different. Instead of seeing it as a funny anecdote, viewers began asking more serious questions about what those gatherings were actually like. The clip even mentioned well-known figures such as Justin Bieber, which only increased curiosity among fans trying to understand who had attended those events. As the video continued circulating, discussions expanded beyond the clip itself and began focusing on the broader network of celebrities connected to those environments. Because the Kardashian family is one of the most visible and influential brands in entertainment, their presence in the story quickly attracted major attention. Supporters argued that attending celebrity parties is common in Hollywood and does not automatically imply anything suspicious. Critics, however, believed the resurfaced footage suggested that many powerful figures had moved within the same social spaces for years. And as the debate intensified, the attention of industry observers was a small change that took place on social media around the same time federal investigators began taking action connected to the case. Fans noticed that some celebrities had quietly unfollowed Diddy online, including members of the Kardashian family such as Kris Jenner. At first glance, an unfollow might not seem significant. Celebrities adjust their social media connections all the time, often without explanation. But in this situation, the timing raised eyebrows. According to people who track celebrity activity online, Several of those unfollows appeared to happen shortly before news broke that federal authorities had conducted searches related to the investigation. Public representatives for those involved insisted the timing was purely coincidental and that there was no hidden meaning behind it. Still, the moment fueled speculation. In Hollywood, even small signals can trigger intense discussion, especially when they occur during a major scandal. Entertainment reporters began asking whether certain people in the industry might have sensed that something serious was about to happen, or whether they simply wanted to create distance from a situation that was rapidly escalating. Regardless of the reason, the social media activity added another layer to an already complex story. Suddenly, the conversation was not just about legal proceedings. As the focus expanded beyond the immediate scandal, attention turned towards someone who had long remained in the background of the Kardashian world, Corey Gamble. Known publicly as the longtime partner of Kris Jenner, Gamble had spent years appearing beside her at major events while maintaining a relatively low public profile. Unlike many figures associated with the Kardashian brand, he rarely sought the spotlight himself. But when people began mapping connections between different celebrities involved in the broader conversation, his name started appearing more frequently. Before becoming part of the Kardashian circle, Gamble had worked within the music industry, including roles connected to major touring operations and artist management environments. That history immediately attracted interest from online commentators attempting to understand how different entertainment worlds overlap. Photographs from past events showed him attending gatherings where several influential figures, including Diddy, were present. Those appearances alone did not imply anything unusual, but the internet's fascination with tracing connections meant his presence quickly became part of the narrative. Suddenly, someone who had spent years in the background was being discussed across podcasts, commentary channels, and social media threads. Observers began wondering what role individuals like Gamble might play. While discussions about personal connections continued circulating online, another topic entered the conversation that shifted attention toward financial structures connected to celebrity empires. Critics began discussing a church organization purportedly founded by Kris Jenner in California years earlier. According to reports, the church operates with membership contributions, something that is common for many religious institutions. However, because churches operate under different financial disclosure rules than traditional businesses, the topic quickly became part of wider debates about transparency when wealthy public figures establish religious organizations. Some commentators speculated that such institutions could potentially serve as private financial channels, while others strongly rejected that idea and argued there was no evidence supporting such claims. Importantly, no official charges or investigations have connected the church itself to wrongdoing. Nevertheless, the discussion illustrated how public scrutiny tends to expand when major scandals emerge. Once a controversy reaches a certain level of visibility, observers often begin examining every structure connected to the individuals involved: businesses, charities, foundations, and even religious organizations. Each connection becomes another thread that curious audiences attempt to follow in hopes of understanding the larger picture behind powerful celebrity networks. As all these discussions unfolded, another figure continued fueling curiosity from the sidelines. 50 Cent had been one of Diddy's most vocal critics for years, often mocking him publicly through interviews and social media posts. Their rivalry had long been part of hip-hop culture, but the recent scandal appeared to give 50 Cent a new opportunity to push the conversation further. He began discussing plans for a documentary project that would explore the broader culture surrounding Diddy's influence in entertainment. According to his comments, the project could include interviews, archived footage, and perspectives from individuals who had witnessed events behind the scenes. He also hinted that some material in the documentary had never been shown publicly before. Those hints immediately sparked curiosity throughout Hollywood. Producers, executives, and publicists understand that documentaries can dramatically reshape
public narratives, especially when they introduce new information into an already controversial story. Whether the project ultimately reveals anything groundbreaking remains to be seen, but the possibility alone has created tension among individuals who once shared social or professional connections with Diddy. For now, the entertainment industry appears to be watching carefully, waiting to see what might emerge next, because what began as a scandal surrounding one powerful figure has grown into a much larger conversation about the networks of influence that operate behind the glamorous surface of Hollywood.